Hello. Hey Aisha, how's it going? Welcome. Welcome, welcome. So I had 2 spools of the thread for this project, and I wound 2 bobbins from the spool, and that's all there was on the spool. It was like the perfect amount for 2 bobbins. So that's kind of good to know. Like you could get through 1 whole bobbin worth of thread, like upper and lower, on 1 small spool. Oh, thanks, Aisha. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I think I want to play around with that a little bit more at the end today. That was so easy to do. And I was like, oh, I probably couldn't do this if I was wearing it. But then I realized you could just flip it over, do it, and then flip it over. I like that. It was like kind of smooth, Hi, Julie. Welcome. Hey, Kathleen. Welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. Julie. You just got to make us miss you, and then you're a celebrity here. All right. So we are sewing part 2 today of the Teia dress in cami by pattern Fantastique. Hi, Rachel. This project was provided by Hearts right here, and I pulled up all their hemp. We're using the Davenport hemp today in the color Mist. So that's what you're seeing on the screen. They have other hemps on their website. They have the Davenport. They also have a chambray, 3 chambrays, and a Japanese hemp selvage denim, and never mind. I thought that said silk, but it's called milk. It's the color. They have a lot of colors in this Davenport. I really love the plum and the teal, the slate ink. I like all these. Yeah, I love this color too. I love this color too. I think on me it'll look a little too pale, like with my skin. I love this color though. Okay, so I've been noodling. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, oh. How does poke myself so good with a pin? It's not even bleeding. Oh, yeah, it is. Never mind. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Hi, Nancy. Oh, nice. Oh, my goodness. This is why I have Band-Aids, is so I don't bleed on projects. Let me get one out because I have them. I have a little first aid kit that I made. No bleeding on the hemp. Oh my gosh, this Band-Aid is gigantic. I think we can cut it. Sheesh. So I've been noodling on doing French seams on this. It did hurt. It was stuck. It's like yeah, it is. It's kind of, what it looks like? I think glacier. Glacier would be a much more apt description of the color. Like it looks like glacier ice, Very pretty, pale. So I think today that I should make it Donnie soon, but I have to. Aisha, your list is longer than mine right now. Every day I'm like, today we are coming up with a list. I come up with a list and then I think of 4 other things during the day. I'm like, all right. My problem is that I have a lot of like work, it's not quotes, it is work-related sewing, right? So I'm currently learning all the Sew Liberated patterns, and I think I'm going to sew the chanterelles and then pause there because I think a lot of the other patterns are just older, or I'm like, I don't need to sew, they don't need to pay me to sew that. Hi Kim, how's it going? And then there are the things that I do for videos, and those are garments that I usually, for all the clients I am doing that for right now, they don't want the garment. And so I keep it. or give it away or whatever, right? So I have those, and they kind of fill the closet sometimes, right? Because then I'm like, well, gosh, you know, it would be nice to like have this or whatever. Anyway, and then there's the things I want to do. And then I'm balancing it with what I think people want to see here. Or I get projects like this from Hearts, right? So I'm sewing this. And like I said at the beginning of last stream, the number of things I've sewn in the last 2 months is kind of a lot. Plus I did a lot of birthday sewing. I made 4 shirts just for birthday sewing. So add that to everything, right? Oh yeah, Elizabeth. That's awesome. So I think the things that I'm trying to focus on, like I need to separate what I want to do for my channel and what I want to do personally. If they can meet up, that's awesome. Like I think the Pierce shirt by Goldfinch is something I'd like to sew very soon, so I have it for the winter. And what else? What else? Such a long list. I want to do a lot of holiday sewing now. I want to just do that. I want to get that done. I don't want to stress about that. I just want to start cutting and sewing holiday stuff and doing that in my free time. So, what else? I have a long list. I want to do that tuck top where the tucks go like this. Go like this. What else? Where's my list? Anyway, we'll get there. We will get there. All right, so I've been thinking about this French seam. I also think I found a typo in this pattern that's super mild, but it might throw you off if you're sewing this. And it's a very simple typo. You see how these dots are labeled by size? I think the 6 is supposed to be here. So this is the pocket opening right here. And so you would want this to be in alignment, right? And so this one says 6, and this one doesn't say anything, and it's slid over. And the reason I caught this was because the 16 dot got cut off. That says 16 right there, and that's the size I cut out right there. And then this one says 16. So just use the dot to the left for this upper pocket opening. I think you'll figure that out, but there's a lot going on here. You know, this is the dart right here. This is the turn back for the miter corner. And it might feel a little bit like you did something wrong when it's just a simple, like, that's the dot. So maybe I'll let them know. I looked on their website for errata, so it's likely been fixed, because this is the print version. So the PDF might not even have this error, but I would think if there's print versions that have it and they know about it, they would put an errata list on their website so that you know you're not crazy, right? I think what you want to sew and what we want to see should align. Yeah, me too, but I gotta pay the bills of being able to stream it all. So yeah, it's a tricky overlap. It's complicated. It's very much more complicated than people think. And I know it's really boring talk and you don't want to hear about it. So someday I hope that someone will be like, I want to know about these things. I want to interview you about it, because I think there's a lot of really interesting subtleties with it. But whatever. It's not why we're here today, is it? All right, so here we have the side seam. All right. Now my dart is much thicker here, wider here, and I'm gonna trim this down and clean finish this seam allowance here for the dart. So we'll do that today. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because right here, I think this might be the pin that poked me. Or is it right? It is right at the top of this, so it's this one right here. This right here is my pocket opening, and that would be in the seam, right? So we need to clean that up a little bit. And we also have this cutaway pocket that gets stitched down. So I was thinking about it, and let's pretend we are French seaming. I ended up overlocking this one when I realized it. You want to know? I feel like it comes off as whiny, and that's why I bring it up because I find this kind of thing fascinating. I'm very interested in how a business needs to operate in order to be sustainable. But most people are like, just give me content. I don't want to hear about your troubles. I just want, why should I have to pay for anything? You know, this should be free, you know, all that stuff. And that's just not my right. That's just like, I don't really want to get into that because, yeah. Wait, where are my scissors? Here they are. Okay, so here we have the side seam. Is this too bright for you guys? Would you like me to dim it down a little bit? All right, so now if we were to sew this, right, we would be doing it wrong sides together, and we get to here. Normally what I would do is I'd come down, like, you know, you're at the first pass of your French seam is closer to your raw edge, right? So we're sewing along here. And then normally what I would do when there's a vent is I would come over to here to the full seam width, right? So there we have that, right? But we have this pocket that already has the seam allowance built in. So my thing is, like, when we turn it the other way, what happens with this pocket since it is not part of the side seam? You know what I mean? I find that interesting too, Tiffany. It's very interesting to me. It's really interesting when I go to my channel to get a link, what video YouTube decides to put there. I'm like, why are you suggesting that one, you know? So, but you know what was really cool today was that I searched for the Teia dress, and under it said Teia dress by Pattern Fantastique, and then under it were my 3 videos. So that's awesome. So I find it super interesting to hear someone talk about something they're interested in and are knowledgeable about, even if they know that. Yeah, right, Elizabeth? Yeah, like that kind of like secondhand interest is kind of cool. Hi, Mullen. Hi, Monica. Welcome, welcome. So maybe not wrapping it up into the part 2 of the sewing would probably be a good thing. Hi, Michelle. Hello. All right, so that's what I'm thinking. So let's say we sewed down to that point, right? We'll pretend like we've sewn to here, all right? And now we want to turn this. Oh, I missed. There's so much fabric here. So, right, we've done this. I'm trying to like angle it because we would have a little J, right? Like here to this point where this pin is, right? And now we turn it right sides together. And I guess if I can stop right there, let's get rid of this pin here. I know where that goes. Well, let's put this up here. All right, so if we stopped here, what does that leave us with? We have this, which needs to go here, and so does this. Wait a minute, maybe it is possible? Huh. And then here you have the bottom pocket opening, right? So that's this pin here. Here to here, right? Oh, but that's this right here makes it so I can't do a French seam. But I don't need a French seam down here. I just need a seam. Because I could turn this edge under, right? It doesn't have to be overlocked. I think it is possible. Well, let's try it. Let's try it. I've overlocked one. We'll use a kind of larger stitch. All right. So we're going to put this wrong sides together. The way I look at French seams is it's okay if someone wants to use French seams in conjunction with like other seam finishes, right? Like overlock. I think that's totally fine. But let's say your reason for using French seams is because you don't have an overlock, right? And you want a really clean finish. Is it possible? That's the question. So we're gonna look at it, our science experiment, as if we don't have that to fall back on, all right? But I haven't cleaned up this dart yet. Shoot, I should have done that. The thirst for knowledge is making me rush. Let me get rid of this dart excess here. Hi, Lean, how's it going? All right, so we're gonna trim this down to this dart here. Oi. Oh, there's my gum. Okay, so how much seam allowance do I want? Maybe, let's leave ourselves like 5/8. I'm gonna leave myself 5/8. And then we'll end up with something more like a 3/8 inch width. So I'm gonna trim off my dart excess here. All right. And now I'm just going to edge stitch it closed. Nothing fancy. Yeah, Julie, I mean, you know, I think one of the only talents I have is thinking about things inside out and spatially. But there are limits to that. Especially if something is, if I didn't draft it. So like, I know that all of this as a French seam is possible, but was it drafted optimally for that? It's not the pattern company's responsibility to optimally draft something for the way I want to seam finish, right? They have their idea of how they would like, you know. Plus, they need it to be appealing for as many people as possible. I find it really interesting. You know what I was thinking about yesterday sorry, I could have probably done this faster, but so there's a new pattern coming out for Sew Liberated, and a bunch of us just tested it, and there were people in the testing group, right? So I was thinking about how I know it is a group effort on their part, and I'm not really privy to most of everything that goes into the pattern. I'm an independent contractor. I'm not an employee. I was in the testing group. They value my opinion as an opinion, right? And they will weigh it with everything else. Like, I am not, you know, I don't know best. I give what I think, and that's about it. And I don't even tell them everything that I think at all, because I'm still learning, like, how they do things and how, what their priorities are, right? Okay, so I was thinking about this and how the pattern drafter has a really big responsibility, right? There's a lot resting on your shoulders when you're at this point in the process, when you're getting a pattern across the finish line, right? Now, for a home sewing pattern, you have to make sure that an infinite number of people at different sewing abilities and levels can read your pattern, read your instructions, and get the result that you intended. So that's an infinite number of people, right? And then you have to make this, whatever, 30-page document to do that. So those instructions, right? And your pattern needs to be illustrated and marked in a particular way for an infinite number of people to look at and interpret, right? So now, I have had this burden before, many, many times, working totally in a different context. And I thought, I kind of just like figured out like how vastly different it is, because my goal was I had to make the pattern able to be manufactured thousands of times by the exact same people over and over, right? So it's a very different thing because you have to make it. And my instructions, I'm not joking, the instructions to sew my garments, anything I put to a factory, was a list this big. So you, as a home sewer, get 30-page document on how to sew something. But when I give it to a factory, they get a bulleted list. It is literally a bulleted list because most factories have their certain ways that they sew things. So if you give them a hand pocket on jeans, they sew it the same way every time on every garment, right? Unless you say, no, we want it to be this way. And they're like, okay, right? So I will give them a spec package that may be like 18 pages long, but it's all Excel spreadsheets. And because it's every spec on every size, and it's more about what the goal of the garment is. So the goal of the garment is that it has to spec certain measurements in multiple different places. So they're going to say everything from how far away the label is from whatever seam it's near to how wide the pocket opening is for your hand, for every single size, everything. So it's just like pages and pages of numbers. And there's a ton of pressure because here's the difference. Well, there's a big difference, right? When someone's doing it for a home sewing world, you have infinite number of people that could make infinite number of mistakes or interpret what you say. When I send it to a factory, they cut it one time. So they're cutting thousands of them at one time. So if you've made a mistake, all of them are wrong, right? So it's a completely different pressure. And if you've made a mistake or they've made a mistake, when they take your pattern and they cut and sew it, you also have to have a backup plan of like, all right, how can we fix this? And how can we implement a fix that doesn't cost more money? Because this is the other thing about doing that, is that you can't, as a pattern drafter, be like, this is how I want to sew it. The factory will be like, no, we can't do this, or we're having a lot of trouble making time. They'll say making time, meaning their goal time on something, right? And it's not like one person sews the garment from start to finish. You probably have a factory of like, well, we had like 100 people there, and they all weren't sewers, and they all weren't sewing the same thing, right? So you have one person that does this step, and then it gets handed off. And it's this whole like logistical thing of how things move through, because you're not only just sewing that, you're sewing other things, and you can't bottleneck. If you bottleneck, it's like instant meeting time, So it's a really interesting difference because the goal is the same. You need thousands of this garment, but they're executed in this very different way. It's really interesting. So, and I was kind of feeling for her because I was thinking about her this week because the testing just kind of finished, and it's got to be nerve-wracking, right? It's not her. It's not. I'm not gonna say it's not on her to, like, you have all these people sewing this garment, and you as a pattern drafter take it very personally when things aren't going well, right? Even though you shouldn't, because you just don't know, how are people going to take my instructions? How are they going to fit this? Are they being honest about their measurements to their self and picking the right size? You can't ask these kinds of questions, right? So it's so many chefs in the kitchen when you are creating a pattern for the home sewing world. And there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen when you're doing it for a factory, but you have a lot of people saying no, yes, people who don't even know sometimes, like it's for different reasons. So it's really, really interesting to me. And she sent a message last night. She was like, thank you so much for all the work in the forums. It's made this garment. I've been able to really focus on it and all the testing stuff and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, it was just so funny because I was thinking about you and just thinking about how much pressure you feel right now, And it's not on her alone, but it feels that way sometimes. All right, here we are. I'm back on track. I'm sorry. There were no pugs in the chat. Thank you for not saying I'm distracted. Hi, Amy. Hi, Jan. How's it going? Okay, so we're back on this side seam. We're doing a trial French seam here. All right, so we're gonna come down. We have this dart to kind of think about. And now when I get to where that pocket opening ends, I'm gonna just trim off this little bit of dart right here. That's what I'm fiddling with right now. Boop. Maybe I folded it the wrong way. All right. And now I'm gonna come all the way over in a J, like a shape of a J, to the full seam. All right. Now, do I take a chance and clip and trim it? Okay, if I did, and we got over here, right? So now we have this and this. We've sewn our seam, right? Okay, so this has to flip to here. So maybe, see, look, see, I don't think that would work. All right, so here we go. Here's our side seam. Let me try and orient you guys. So this is our back, and it has the pocket, because the pocket lays on the front like this and gets stitched down, but not before we turn back the hem like this. And look, I can't do that up there. Maybe if I do the clip and trim thing. Screw it, let's try it. I'm a little nervous. All right, so we're gonna clip down to the base there. Oof, this is some thickness. Okay, clip down to the base. We're gonna trim this really close. This is the base of the dart, so I know it probably looks really thick there. All right, so now we have our hinge right there. Okay, this might work. This might work, okay. Okay, so we have, okay, I think this might work. Okay, so here's our French seam, right? So we could sew down straight to this point right here. This can get turned back and hemmed. Turn it under and stitch it down. The pocket can come forward and stitch over it. All right, I think we're in business. Let's go try, let's just try this one before we mess up this dress for hearts. Okay, let's, man, we got strap-a-palooza going on in here. Let's tie these together. Okay, so let's see here. I'm gonna press this dart that I just clean finished right here, just to sort of make it less wavy. All right. And then we're gonna press our French seam here. We're gonna press the heck out of this. All right. That was not even pressing the heck, was it? Let's see, let's do this a little bit more. So now, okay. If you're in the guild and you're at all curious about how I did my fitting adjustments on this, the gape in the armhole with a double dart, or increasing the back hem circumference without disrupting the side seam, there's a whole tutorial on that in the quick fix area, which is like a free area. All right, so let's stitch this. Okay. We'll put down our regular stitch length. See if we can get that armhole facing. Yeah, Terry, I feel like my things keep like just breaking for some weird reason. You know, I'm wondering if it's every time they update Streamlabs, it makes it so I have to turn those back on. I never go to the website for Streamlabs. And when I do, I'm like, oh, look at all this stuff. All right, so here you can see maybe my gentle J there, right? So now we're gonna enclose this and we're gonna go to the point of that because that J went to the full seam allowance. Get rid of this little thread here. I'm a little too eager, so I'm being a little bit sloppy. Okay, so then I think the next step is to read the directions. Never assume. Let's see, where are we at here? Could probably get rid of my Band-Aid now too. A pin was in there. All right. So then we can do this lower side seam, leaving the pocket open, and then we do all the pressing and stitching of the miter, and then lastly the pocket. Okay. So now let's define our pocket opening. Aw, Monica, thanks. Oh, good. I'm glad, Lean. I am a little self-conscious of this dress, but you know, it's like the end of summer. I haven't worn my Upton all summer. I love red, and it's just getting a little small. So, but I was like, I'm determined. I even brought a backup dress after the stream. I'll probably put it on. So yeah, thank you. All right, so, and you know, I saw Aisha one day said in the chat, you really need to wear more bold colors more often. And I think she's right. So I'm trying to do that. Okay, so here we have our pocket opening, and I have the back up, but the pocket opening is marked on the front pattern piece, and I sort of wanted to start from it and go down, but that means starting from the hem. Where does it end? I actually don't know where the seam ends. Does it end here? No, that's the opening, pocket opening. No, this is, yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, the split goes to here. Thank goodness they wrote all this stuff on here, you know? So it goes like, I tried to get like dark glasses and I just couldn't do it. I didn't like it. Okay, I might get red glasses next time. I used to have red and I've had purple. They were good. They were fine. I liked them. All right, so we're just gonna mark this because this is one thing I think that I got the slit wrong on my muslin. It was a little too high, you know? I don't mind taking a compliment. I just did feel a little self-conscious. I'm telling you, I'm being honest. I put my mic right here for reasons. From the front, look, I'll even show you. Here's my dress. This is the Upton by Cashmerette. This is before they did the expansion, so I have an A-line, pockets, tank dress, but it, you know, it's a little snug now. So yeah, there you go. I'm not looking for compliments. All right, let's see here. It's a limited workspace. I just want to make sure I get this nice and flat right here. Nobody likes a buckling pocket opening, right? We'll get this. Does this line up like this, do you think? Not sure. I think it does. I think it does. Let's see. And this is the pocket opening. So we go from here to here, basically. Okay. So let's put these pins on the other side because there's more going on over there. Upton, it's the Upton. Hey Sylvia, how's it going? Upton before they made like all the whole like mix and match thing, you know? Wait, is this the pin I just did right here? Yeah, it is. It's already coming out. Yeah, someone, when I posted my Myrna dress on by Colette the other day, another one I was like, I haven't worn this in a while. I need to wear this because it's one of my favorite dresses. They were like, oh, this isn't a silhouette you usually wear. And I thought that was so funny because I've been accused of only liking fit and flare. And I thought that was really funny. I was like, oh yeah, you're just only seeing what I post on Instagram probably, you know. I'm like, no, this is definitely my silhouette. I think I go out like this. Yeah. Lost in the landscape of the pattern. Okay, that's the shortest little side seam you ever did. See, look how cute it is. Let's check the pocket opening because it looks really small. And I made it a 1/2 inch bigger, but okay, that feels okay. Okay, 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 we're here. We're here. We're just testing out if we can do this French seam, side seam. So now see, we have this. This is the hem. I don't know why that had to do that. Is it acting as a facing? So then the pocket's gonna go on top. And then we have our slit. We did it. Okay, we did it. All right, so that wasn't too bad, you know? I didn't need to overlock all that. All right, so let's do our other side. And then we can get both. Oh, we need to. Are you tired of seeing me flip this thing around? Okay. We're going to make a 5/8 inch seam allowance again. That was like kind of the good amount to not make it too hard to do. You could make it smaller. Can you hear that hemp? Okay, there's my dart. And I'm just poking it in. Let's use the iron this time. You're so lost. I'm gonna reorient you. Now that I know what's happening, I will definitely illustrate it a little better. Maybe I could do at the iron here because I feel like it's a little flatter over here. But let's iron this time. Make it a little easier to clean finish this dart. Anytime you have a dart that's too wide, you can just make it into a seam allowance. If it's on the bias like this one, you don't even need to finish the edge. I know you're gonna be like, what? Never, and clutch your pearls, but I promise, if it's on the bias, it's fine. This hemp though, I'm not gonna do that. Hemp, if it's like a fabric that gets really ravelry, then I would do. But you can even overlock this, you can zigzag it. You can even just stitch it again parallel to the dart and cut it close. That's totally fine. There are so many ways to finish a seam, you know? Okay, so we're gonna edge stitch that. All right, so now let me run you through what's happening over here. So here, let's see how it looks on the right side. Oh yeah, look at that. It's looking okay. A little thick, huh? All right, so now our French seam goes from the top of the facing to where the pocket opening starts. So when you put it wrong sides together, you're gonna come down and you're gonna go down like your narrow seam allowance. So it's only a 3/8 inch seam allowance. So we're gonna do a 1/8 inch seam. wrong sides together, and then you're going to go all the way over to where that pocket opening is. Just kind of go zoop. You're going to clip to that, trim it really close, right sides together, press nicer than I did, and then now you're going to do a straight seam and closing it straight down to that J, that point right there, right? And then now you're going to go from pocket opening below the pocket opening to the slit top, right sides together. And that's all you need to do. You don't need to do a French seam down here because you would have a raw edge here. So you could even hem this under, maybe. This might be the sticky point right here. This edge right here, you can turn under as well because we're going to stitch it down. So you wouldn't have to overlock it. So let me think about this. Let me think. Let's actually press this a little bit. Where am I? Holy. Okay. This is the back, and that's the front. So let's, there's that. I think that the slit, you could really, I think what would have been a little easier on this was just end that slit where this one ends on the back and just put a full-on like inseam pocket right here. Then you could just French seam this whole thing and this wouldn't have been such a mental gymnastics. You know? This edge really comes far in. That's what I'm kind of looking at right now. Let's press it like this. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Hand smart scissors, right? Yeah, this is very tricky. I think that, I think what you can do, honestly, is on the front pattern piece, this right here, this could be the same height as the one on the back. Just bring it down here below the pocket and then just put an inseam pocket in this. It doesn't need to be a cutaway. You could just do an inseam pocket like you all know how to do, right? And then this wouldn't have gotten so complicated. But the thing is, like, cutaway pockets are really great because they keep your pockets forward on your dress, which is kind of nice. And you're not sitting on your car keys when the inseam pocket flips to the back. Yeah, it's hemp. Hemp, here, I have a link for you. This is the Davenport hemp from Hearts, but you can check it out. I know they're in the U.S. for you. I didn't get any. Oh, my water glass is so far away. Never mind. Okay. Oops, sorry. So this is the one we have sewn so far. So then let's look at it again here. So back, front, pocket sewn to the back, comes over this right here. But see what I'm saying? Like this right here could just end right here. And you could just do an inseam pocket right there. You could top stitch the inseam pocket down. Yeah, totally. It's just thicker. But yeah, exactly. So I think that would make this a lot easier to do. Just cut this right here to here. That's my 2 cents. Because I think that this is a really wide facing for the front. You know? All right, let's do our other one. We're going to go through the whole process this time, all right? Oh, we need to edge stitch this dart that I already prepared. Okay, and And then the dart gets pressed down. So let's trim it flush. All right. We're going to do this wrong sides together. We still get to Hong Kong finish the facing. Do I love doing that? Maybe. All right. Okay, we'll get this wrong sides together. All right, so we're at the top of the facing, 1/8 inch seam. Do you want me to just pull the camera down? I always say, today, Saremy, you're not going to just pull it down, you're going to zoom it, but it's just it takes too long. All right, and we're going to go to the top of the pocket opening. I'm sort of like pushing my fabric like this because I don't want to stretch out the seam because, you know, it's like a linen. All right, so here we have our pocket, and the opening is just past the, excuse me, just past the seam here, right here at the top. And we're going to go over to the full seam allowance, gentle J, right? So now we're going to come around like that. See, here it is. That's the full seam. This is the seam where the pocket opening is. Thank you. Right, so now we're going to cut. I cut an angle like this. I would call it like a house, like the roof of a house. I have to get this started though. Makes me nervous. There we go. Okay, now we can. So go up to that. Now this right here, you have to trim away. Now usually, yeah, you trim your French seams so that they're nice and tidy, right? But right here, you have a little bit of excess. See how it like goes out here? We need this to be really, really narrow, narrower than the rest of your French seam. And that's because when we go straight down like this, we actually have less space in there when we get to this point down here because we're going like this. We're doing a straight line. I know it doesn't look like I sewed straight, but we're going straight line like this. And right here, you see how it's narrower than up here. So that's why. All right, so now let's go to the iron and press this. All right, so we're just gonna press the lots of dress, lots of dress. I'm just going to press it to one side. Probably trim it down a little bit more. It's a fat 1/8 of an inch. I don't want to hear it. It's a very thick fabric. So really press this as a curve. You really want to open that and press it down. That's the J. All right, and then let's just trim this down a little bit more. I'm kind of excited. I ordered a new kind of lint roller, and it's a reusable kind, but it's still a roller. It got really good reviews. I'm really excited because I usually need to lint roll this wool mat or whatever ironing board I'm using, you know. This actually works really good. It really grabs the fibers. It's just my sleeve roll. Okay, so now we're going to flip this right sides together. Those darts were so clean finished right now. I actually just had a little mini panic attack thinking I was on the wrong side. Because I was like, wait, the facing is the wrong side, but the side seam is the right side. All right, so you can see the curve there. There's that curve, right? All right. And so you have this little bit here which you can trim off. That's up above, but we'll get there. Yeah, I'll let you know. It's not arriving till like next week. It was kind of one of those things like, oh yeah, I need more lint rollers and I'm already placing an order here, so I'm gonna try this out, you know? So we'll see. I hope I like it. Between dog hair and threads, I'm not like that focused on being lint free, but sometimes, especially if I'm sewing something like in a video, it's really hard to manage the threads and stuff. So the only place I use it is here. I don't use it like anywhere else. So straight down to that point. See, so we've got the straight down to that point. I know I'm not sewing that great, sorry. Okay, so now we're gonna put this right sides together and sew our side seam here. This is also kind of tricky. I'm gonna line up the edge of this miter here, or the facing. Cause see how it feels like that's way over there? I don't think it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to line up like this. I feel like I'm kind of pulling it over, you know? Okay, nice and flat. Yeah, all right. This is where I want my seam to start. And then, gee, I wonder where it ends. I don't have that marked on here. I had the pins there, they just all fell out. Right there. I did use my, see how I have a hole there, right here? I used my screw punch so that my pins can go right through it. Less aggravating. Okay, so we're gonna sew this. I'm just sewing it right sides together. That seam really wants to push my presser foot away. All right, so now we're ready to figure out our pocket and our hem. See you, Kim. Have a good one. Hello, Eliza. How's it going? Yeah, I think with French seams, Justine, they definitely for a long time confused me too. And I think it's just one of those things where the more you do it, it starts to like be more logical, but I totally hear you on that. Yeah, and then flat felled seams, just the other day I got really confused with flat felled seams because the funny thing about flat felled seams is that you sew the first seam at the full seam allowance. Whereas a French seam, you sew it at like a third of the seam allowance, right? And with the French seam, the last seam you sew is the seam that puts it into its proper circumference or whatever, right? With a flat felled seam, the last seam you sew tends to be more visible because it's like a turned under edge and it's the edge stitching and that's where your eye goes to. That's not the seam. That's a quarter inch away from the seam. And I was trying to offset a crotch from like a front crotch from a back crotch at the inseam juncture, and my head was spinning. I was like, but this is my seam. And I have a method for doing this where I never have to worry about this because I used to get confused about that juncture. And so when I do the back rise, I always push the seam to the right leg. And then when I'm doing the front, I always push it to the right, but that's the left leg. And then they're offset. And that's how I just always do it. So as I'm looking at it and sewing it, I'm always pushing it to the right. and then they're offset because one's the front and one's the back, and they're a mirror, you know? So I have a method for that. But for flat felt, I was like, holy, I'm so confused right now. I never figured it out. I just was like, I need to step away from this. So yeah, I get it. Okay, so here we have our turn back for the hem, which we do first, and we do our pockets last. And I did pre-serge all this because I thought I wasn't going to be able to use French seams today, but we figured it out. It was actually not that bad. So here we go. So now we're going to need to miter and hem everything. So yeah, all right. So now we're going to miter our corners. We're going to fold this little guy here, this little angle hem. We're going to fold this right sides together. You know, I think, I'm actually thinking now we're going to come into trouble because let me make sure I did this right. Yeah, I did, okay. When you turn your hem, so now here we have our mitered corner, easy peasy, right? There it is, right? Turning this under isn't easy. So I think you should stop sewing your miter corner a little bit away from the end. Let's try it out. Let me see if I can give you guys a way to do this. So let's say we stop sewing the miter however much you want to turn it under, that much away from the end there. So we leave it flapping around there, right? So then now when we turn this to the inside, we turn it under and it lines up. Yeah, okay, that's the way. Okay. All right, so again, right sides together. We'll do all 4 of our corners here. Oops, let me just do it a little bit away. And then where's this one? I have to say right sides together because I really want to do it wrong sides together, you know. So this one I'm going toward the corners here and we'll stop. I'm going to stop like 3/8 of an inch away. And I'm just clipping the folded, where the corner, the miter is. Right, so I'm going to, there's 1, 2. 1, 2, here it is. Lost in the dress. I'm so messy. Okay, let's do it from the fold to the outer edge. I feel like that's easier, you know? Is school in session now, Eliza? Are you back at the routine? All right, so now let's do a lot of ironing. I'm going to press this little part open. It'll lay nicer, I think. This is the same kind of hem on the Reynolds dress by Helen's Closet, and I love that hem. Feels so good. Such a simple little thing to do, right? Okay. 1, 2. Three, 4. We still have one puzzle to figure out, and that is that juncture below the pocket meeting the side seam. So hopefully we're okay if we never serged it, right? I mean, one seam isn't serged. All right, now we're going to turn our corners. This is so satisfying. I bet you've been wanting me to turn these since the second I sewed them, and I have been wanting to turn them too. Okay, so now my floor behind there is kind of like lava to me. How much is that doggy in the window? Here we go. Let's see, how much do we turn it up? That much? Really? That seems like more than I'm supposed to. Let's get the awl. You're back. Just finished the first week. 15 more weeks to go. No one's counting but us. Someone I hang out with a lot, they just started school too. And I have to say, I am always sad when school starts on their behalf because they're less available for me. Oh, everything's falling on the floor. So here we have that little loose edge there. All right, and so now I could just turn this under with ease. So if we didn't have the overlock, this would be completely clean. I had to sew something for our video yesterday, and it was hard. Just pinning just now kind of brought it all back. I was like, oh. Probably one of my worst sewn things on video, and there's nothing I can do about it because of the way they wanted it sewn. And I'm just not very good at that, so it's hard sometimes, you know. Okay. I have a little like whoop-de-doo there. See if we can beat it into submission with the iron. It's hemp. It better play nice if it knows what's good for it. Ooh, that looks so good there. I've never thought of doing that before, like stopping the stitching right before. That was so easy, so much easier. Let's mold it a little bit while it's still blazing hot. You are. Fall is always so busy with clinical sports. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Plus then the holidays start, and it's a lot. Okay, so here we have the slit. So let's kind of put this in the position here. Let's see if we can get this looking really nice. Make sure the seam is nice and flat, and our opening is right on that seam there, like that. And so this would be one of our little sticky points right here, because this pocket's going to go like this. And you would have this little seam allowance right here. So if this turns under, what could we do with this? It might be as simple as stopping the French seam above where this end of the pocket is. And then I think you would get it. You could always turn it under and edge stitch it. Makes it a little awkward. In general, I think this is not great. How it goes like that. Not very clean. And that wouldn't change if you know, made the slit stop here and you had an end. Oh yeah, it would actually. No, it wouldn't. No, actually, it would. If you put this slit to the base of the pocket, just like we did at the top, that would fix that. Oh well, we can't do that. I experiment so you don't have to. Oh man, this is getting hard. I'm gonna offset this. This is when you want an ironing board and not this setup. Okay, again, we want to pull this nice and flat right there at the top. Something like that. Okay. Right here, see, we could go like this. We can fold this all down. We can trim this little house off. No, you're fiddly. It is a lot of dress to wrangle. Hi, Daphne. Nice to see you. How are you? Wait, it's been a very long time. Let's see. Yes. Oh, thank you. That's nice of you. Appreciate it. And just for stopping by even. Okay. So a lot of dress wrangle, and hemp can be a little wiggly, you know? Wiggly when I cut it, wiggly when I sew it. So this is my opportunity to make it look like I cut it better than maybe I did, even though I was really careful. But see, like that looks like a curve, right? We don't want no stinking curve. Let's see. I may have to make that narrower up there because it does look wider than this right here, you know? It's so riveting. I was thinking about doing menswear sewing in October, since I didn't get to do it this July. And I was thinking about doing a series of kind of like the skill building session I did on one pattern mini styles, so that, you know, like you could make lots of different styles from one pattern, but doing it for a men's button-up shirt in men's styles only. So like, here's my idea. So you could do from a button-up shirt, you could do, or even from like a camp shirt, it might even be easier to start from a camp shirt. It just depends on what we think most people have, right? So you could do a yoke shirt with a button up, you know, like a collar and collar stand. You have camp style shirt. You have shirt tail hem. You have straight hem with vent. We could do something inspired by like the Sanders with the drop-in pocket. Because if you had one shirt that you've already like fit and you really like, and you want to get more men's styles out of it, I don't know, I was just thinking about it. Maybe now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, maybe this is actually too obvious. It's not very interesting. Hey, Sydney, how's it going? Gardening in the sun. There's sun. Oh, yeah, it's almost September there, so it's almost summer. I always think of Washington State, that summer starts in September. Ha 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 ha, as I laugh from California. Okay. Oh, yeah, exactly, Terry. Exactly. That's a really good one for, yeah, pants, because you could do welt pockets, patch pockets, back yoke, no back yoke, pleats, darts, trouser, jean. Yeah, I mean, that gets into like changing the fit a little bit, right? When you go trouser to jean. Not a little bit, a lot. So maybe not that, but yeah, even just your trousers, chinos, exactly. Khakis. Are they all the same pant? Oh my goodness, we're almost around to the beginning. Can you believe it? One long stitch for the hem is my goal though, because we love a good seamless hem, don't we? All this prep, 2 minutes to sew it. Too bad I can't iron straight, and I apologize for the people that triggers probably. I should probably pin a couple of these. Okay. This has made this, like stopping the stitching right here, God, that's actually one of the smartest things I've done lately. I'm not kidding. It's just something like that made this so much easier and look nice. Because if I hadn't done that, you'd have to clip it and then it gets messy. You run the risk of it getting thready. You're not even running the risk. It is a guarantee. It just won't look very good. I thought we were close to the beginning. Oh my goodness, we were only halfway. Okay, so pull this very firm right here. Get this slit nice and flat. It's soothing. I like that. Oh, Terry, yours looks 100% better than mine. You do not wish you're doing it like this. You know what I would do is probably use my my Hera marker. And I would have drawn a line like I would have, this would be the better way to do this, right? So I'm like, okay, here's my hem, right? And then mark it on there. Why is this one so much wider than this one over here? Huh. Right? So then I would mark it like this. Okay. Make it straight to the seam like this, right? And then use that as my fold line. You know, and the thing is, it's like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be boring. I don't want it to take too long, even though I know some people are like, oh my God, that gal, she's so cavalier. But it wouldn't take longer. Like, they are right? If I took the time to do that, it would save me time. So anytime we rush, it ends up taking longer. I say this because that's kind of my mantra when I have to get out the door and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm rushing and I'm tripping on things and my bag strap catches on something. Oh, I'm going to brush my teeth. Oh, no, don't do that, because you know what'll happen? I'll accidentally step on a tube of toothpaste and there's toothpaste everywhere. You know, like, it just doesn't work out to rush. I am my own worst enemy when that happens. Yeah, this is so interesting. But this is going to go like this. This is, yeah, a very, very interesting way to do this. Huh. You might get a better finish just following their directions, you know? Like, you know. What's Nancy saying? That's awesome, Aisha. I love that you're doing that. Well, I mean, I'm telling you, I literally tell people I don't know how to do something when I don't want to sew for them. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I've told people I don't know how to hem, you know, and they're seeing like Michael walking by in a full-on button-up that I drafted and sewed for him or something, you know, but yeah. I love the look on their face when I say that. I love it because it just makes me so much happier I said that, because they look at you like, geez, I thought you were good. It's like, I am good. I am so good, I outsmarted you. You don't even know it. Why is this hem so much wider? Like, I sewed the miter the same. And you can say it's so convincing, you know, like, oh, you know, I know you sew. I was wondering, I got some fabric for some curtains and I just haven't seemed to get around to it. I'm like, oh gosh, that sounds cool. You're making your own curtains? Yeah. Can you do it for me? Oh, I don't know how to do that. Oh, well, it's just a rod pocket and a hem. Oh, well, sounds like you know what you're doing then. I've never sewn one of those before. Okay, shall we sew? Shall we sew? Usually it's hemming. Hey. Hey, what? My pants are too long. Maybe you should grow as a person. Looking for my center back. Oh my God, Amy. You know it's because they were like, oh, I looked at how much this is. It's too expensive. Yeah. There was a huge span of time where I got asked to recover people's furniture. I was like, you don't want me doing that. I actually don't know how to do that. Oh, but it's so easy. Then you do it. I thought that was really funny. I even worked at an upholstery shop for a long time. I didn't do the upholstery though, you know? I was just the person who helped you pick out fabrics and, you know, took measurements down when the boss was in a meeting. That was all. That was a weird experience, honestly. It was cool, but it was. Now I look back and go, wow, I really wish I would have done this or paid attention to that. And the clientele was definitely a clientele I don't come in contact with. We were in Newport Beach in California, and Newport Beach is it's a very wealthy area. Hope I checked my bobbin. My bobbin was pretty full when we started today, but I really wish I would have. You know? Oh yeah, Aisha, exactly. All right, we're gonna go up, over. Oh, this isn't gonna be continuous. This isn't gonna be continuous because it's split. Oh, man. Yeah, that's funny. Huh. Upscale, yeah. And they're, for people who know Orange County and California and the beach areas, that's where I grew up. So I know it really well. And there is this little area. It's really interesting because Newport Beach it's kind of a famous beach in California. There is Balboa and Balboa Peninsula, and then there are islands inside there. They're very small. There's only one really, Lido Isle, and there's probably like 15 people who live on it. You know, not anyone can just drive onto it. And we would go on there and meet people to talk with them. Mostly I would go on those visits when it was like boat upholstery. And it was really interesting. We had clients that would reupholster their furniture every season or every two seasons a year. It was really bizarre. There's not really anything I could relate to at the time. I did love going to Lido Isle, and I'm really glad I got the opportunity to do that because I'm a lifelong Californian. I grew up in Orange County, on the block next to Disneyland, going to these beaches growing up. And I would have never got the chance to go to some of these places. And I've lived next to them I had lived next to them all my life, you know? So that was kind of cool. You know, it was neat. But just not a really world I thrive in, so. Experience. My favorite is when someone says, you know, you're pretty good. Wow, thanks. I'm so glad I've arrived. Oh, car upholstery. Oof. That's really cool, Justine. You did that. That is so cool. Will you teach us all how to do it? Yeah, the whole exposure thing. Yeah. I think that's why people get a little snarky on my comment sections of my channel. Because they're like, too chatty for a tutorial. I'm like, well, it's honestly, it's not a tutorial. Like, I like to like experiment and go over things like that. If this was a tutorial, I would be barely talking to y'all. I would keep it focused, but I wasn't asked to do that by anyone. Ooh, this one got a little unfolded. Get back in there, mister. Where's my all? Panic. Let's just slide this in there a little better. Really, Aisha? They'd get the experience if they did it themselves. Exactly. It sounds like you're the one who needs the experience. I might have to craft that into a response. I don't actually never get asked anymore, though. Your husband has told me I should start making his butt after so he could put them on Instagram. Exposure for what? Oh, thanks, Lucas. I appreciate that. I mean, I love to experiment and stuff. And if there were like a few people that were like, hey, when you sew this, would you mind like really like going over like how to do certain things? I would 100% do that if I was asked by you guys, you know, like that's why I live stream. That is exactly why I'm here, is so that it is helpful. But I also want to build like community through making mistakes and kind of like looking at things and deciding multiple ways to do it, because it depends on like, you might not have the same machines or whatever. I love that. I love making it accessible in like more ways than one. All right. Oh, I think I hear my all. It's not there. What did Mullen say? People die from exposure all the time. Yeah, Terry doesn't go outdoors. She's the little sewing gremlin. Her husband and boys keep her in the basement. Oh, this is the bobbin I heard. Look at this thread. It just keeps boinging off the bobbin. Woo! That doesn't help. I have a full bobbin. I feel like I'm going to have a full bobbin left. Okay. So we only have like 2 steps left. How is this looking? This seam looks great. It's not the seam I'm looking for. Here we go. All right, so there's the stitching that I just did. I mean that with love, Terry. Terry, that's awesome. You're like, you should just buy a new one, but give me that shirt. I'll keep it. Oh, I like that, Sylvia. Okay, we're going to sew the pockets down now. So let's see here. Let's hope I can do a good job of this, because I really want this to look nice. Let's see if we can pin it on this side, you know, from the top, so we can kind of see exactly what we're getting here. Because see right here, this looks not as smooth as I'd like it. All right, so that's awesome. Naila for the win. Naila. Yeah, I went through a phase of that, Monica. There was just a certain like environment I was in where it just was, yeah, just said I bought it. I think like you go through different phases as a sewer. You're so thrilled when people know you made it, like, and we should be really proud of that, right? At the same time, you're like, oh, are they asking me that because it looks homemade, you know? Or are they asking because they're like, dang, you made that? Wow, you know? At the same time, like, I finally got to a point where my ego I do not care if people know I made it or not, you know, like, I think for the most part, everybody I come in contact with regularly knows I sew, and it has something to do with what I do daily. They never, ever think I've made what I'm wearing. I'm pretty sure. And I think that's interesting. And I don't need to say that, you know? So, and it's very rare where someone will be like, you know, I found you on Instagram and I just realized you make everything you wear, you know? But it's like, yeah, I do, you know? When I had chicken boots, though, and I had a bag making business, and we were making thousands of items every year, like 10,000 items every year, I had very few things I sewed myself that I wore. Very, very few things. So, you know. And people ask me all the time, did you make that? No. I did not make it, and there should be no shame in the fact that I didn't make it. And I remember, like when I would go to the shows, I really liked wearing things I made, but I just couldn't, you know. I made the sweaters I knit, but that was really, I was just trying to get street cred from people, because they would be like, walk into my booth and be like, well, you're a sewer though, so how do you know what a knitter would need in a bag? And I'm like, well, I'm a knitter too. Oh, well, what did you knit? Like, people would say things like that. The knitting customers are so much snarkier than I would have ever guessed. Really nice too, though, you know? You know. Oh no, it's the flickers. The flicker season is starting. I'm stitching this from the right side because I really want to see how it looks while I do it, and I can just feel it under there. So that's what I'm doing right now. Now I've lost it. It's right here. Okay. Oh, here it is. Okay. Because this way I can kind of go, okay, there it is, and I can kind of blend it in. Did I just run out of bobbin? Oh no, I didn't. I feel like Julie cursed me now. Knitting snobs. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it was. Like, was it that they were a snob? Is it that... I feel like I was constantly trying to prove myself in the knitting world. You know what, though? Like, now I look back on that, all the friends I had I had business friends. I had a really cool business group of women, and I really loved all of them. And then when I closed Chicken Boots, they stopped talking to me. Almost all of them just stopped talking to me. And I was like, what the heck? I don't know why. Right? So it's like, okay, well, I thought even my friends were my friends in there, but I guess not. I don't know. Do you think that's what it's supposed to look like? This little here? Did I do that right? Let's see how I did on the inside. Oh, that looks pretty good on the inside. What did I do up here? That looks good. Okay. Let's not poke the bear. Yeah, I was even in like a business group, like a text chat, and I got kicked out of that. And it was like, it wasn't too long after the fire. So I was not like that was not something I was prepared for. I was like, okay, yeah, wow, that was a really tough time, you know? But, whatever. Who needs friends when you've got your sewing machine? I also knit. I'm not sorry. You're not snarky, Sylvia. You don't belong here then. No, just teasing. Oh, you have a knitting machine? That's awesome. There's someone in the guild that's been playing around with the knitting machine. They're really enjoying it. I can't believe you saw my booth at shows, Amy. That's so cool. Yeah, no one here is like that exactly. Knitting people, yeah. And it's interesting because I would have never expected that. I don't know why. You're here for me. I love knitting. I think it's incredible. I think if you are really into sewing and you're really into, maybe it was the pattern drafting side of me. I don't really know what about it spoke to me. I didn't want to learn to knit, by the way. Someone who also doesn't talk to me now really wanted someone to knit with, and so she didn't. It's not like she forced me, but she kind of forced me to learn how to knit. And I really loved it. And what I really found was cool was the fact that like you can sculpt a garment, you know, and it's just like that's so neat. I loved it, and I love knitting sweaters for that reason. Quilter, knitter, sewist. Yeah, and you're so snarky. No, like Amy's like the nicest person. like truly. Thank goodness. Amy's like volunteering at the animal shelter this morning. Most of her sewing is for dogs. So they have a blankie. Okay. I'm just feeling for my pocket. So if this makes you uncomfortable, I know it looks like I'm just sewing blind. What you can do, and I should have shown this, sorry, but what I usually do when I do this is I will, from the wrong side, I will take my hero marker, which is, where, oh, here it is, right here. I will take my hero marker and I will just go like this. And then I can see that line. See, there's the line right there. And then I just know to go parallel to that. You can also do it right through, but that's harder because it's a little thicker. Yeah, maybe. The knitting blogging world is also a little bit like hit and miss. Okay, I shouldn't have lifted my work up. I hope I have a nice smooth line now. So this is my line. I can feel it. That's why I have my fingertips like that. I know this sounds kind of funny, but I think that the machine can feel that edge and it kind of grabs it and keeps it on there. Okay, so now we're here at the end here. Okay. The hair marker, I love this thing. It is it's not a marker at all. It's just a sharp piece of plastic. I don't know why mine's so dirty. I don't know. I honestly don't know where that comes from. But yeah, you can just, you know, do this on the fabric and you see the lines it makes. And then, you know, you can see it on the other side too. I can see it. You can barely see it. There's one, there's one, there's one, right? Yeah, and it never runs out, right? It's by Clover. Clover hair marker. This is just marker from using, like real marker. Jeans. I don't know what that's from. I also use this tip, but it's getting chipped. I probably need to replace this at some point, but I go like this when I'm doing marking buttonholes. I use this sharper edge because I'll do like if this is the placket right here, I do the end of the placket like this, and then I can see where to start and stop when I get there. Yeah, yeah, I love this thing. It's kind of my favorite thing to use. But I also really like the soapstone pencil, but it wouldn't work on this, right? Because it's too light. And I really like Choco liners, but the yellow stays forever. I still have buttonholes on white shirts that have yellow chalk on them. But I use a lot of these. I love this because it's so precise when you mark, you know? Like, look at that. You get such a perfect little line. It's so, and you don't have to sharpen it. It just has this little, like, wheel in there. I love it. But the thing that Nancy turned me on to that I love also is the Crayola Ultra Washable Markers. I could use another set of these right now because all my tips are getting a little, like, a little fuzzy and soft. They're not as, but they're really sharp, and we haven't found anything they don't wash out of yet. So, how does which one work, Sylvia? Oh yeah, you can use this. Another teacher gave me, Katrina Walker. She's a really cool lady. She gave me the tip to bring these when I taught classes for an iron. And so you can, let's do it on something else, but you know, if you're making a seam, right, and then you can go like this, and you get a really nice crisp edge. It's great. So, I almost put that in the bin. I have it linked on my tool section if you lose track of it, but yeah. Yeah, the wheel, it's chalk inside, so this one's blue. I have white as well. It comes in gray, white, blue, yellow, and pink, I think are all the colors. I used to love the yellow because it worked on just about every fabric color. You could use it on white and you could use it on black, so it did the whole thing, but it sticks around. I haven't noticed these sticking around. So I use the blue on light colors and the white and the blue on all other things. And then usually the cap tells you what color's in there, but I've refilled these. So they're both, they both probably started out white. And you let's see, there's the blue at the bottom and some white, so yeah. Yeah, the washable markers are great. The Crayola ones work the best. I did this SBS on marking tools, and I bought every single marking tool from Waywack, which was super fun. And by the way, it only cost me like $100 to buy every single marking tool on there. I didn't buy every chalk. That would have been a lot more. And they sell chalk like 50 to a box, and I didn't want 1,000 chalks, right? And that was really cool. I tried all of them before washing, all of them after washing. I tried them on light fabric and dark fabric, and I still have all my samples. I should make a video about that because it was really cool. All right, we're pretty much there. All we need to do now is the Hong Kong finish on here, and we already prepped our bias. Right. We could probably use a label this time. Maybe we'll put the Made with Love. It matches. Now this is the back, right? Yeah, this is the back. I could just stick that out the bottom of the... Hey, there we go. Can we just use light blue? Yeah, exactly, Nancy. Yeah, mine, there's a couple that have dried out, but I think they're really great because you get 10 colors, so you always have something to, you know, to use. Maybe not on like black, but it works on everything else. Black's the only thing it probably doesn't. Oh, I got a little close there. My facing didn't match. Oops. All right, we're gonna do a Hong Kong finish on this facing here. I didn't finish it when it said to in the directions because I wanted to do this. I also like finishing this edge as one smooth, complete line. Because if you've already finished this edge, you've already finished this edge, right? And then now it is mismatched, it stays like that forever, you know? You can't, unless you want to like trim it and then refinish it, and then you're kind of in a mess. Oh, that's good, Tiffany. I don't have that option anymore. But that is true. Yeah, but mine are, they're very, very fuzzy. What I like about having so many, I'm running out of bobbin, is that I can have like, you know, 3 of them here, 2 of them there, 4 in the other room. Oh no, I have tons of bobbin. Why did it sound like that? Why? Yeah, I probably had mine for a couple of years. It's definitely time. But I don't use them as much as the other things. They still wash out. That's so cool. I did have, the only bad story I had, which wasn't a bad story for the marker's sake, it was mine, was I was getting ready to do like a 7-hour drive, a little road trip, and I thought, okay, you should never force yourself to do a project when you're going on a vacation, right? You're like, this is when I'm going to get this done. That's not vacation, right? But that's me. So I got this, I got the March top from Helen's Closet, and I wanted to embroider the whole yoke for it. I'm going to make this even right here. See how it's uneven right there? And I drew this whole design. First of all, I'm very bad at hand sewing. And I drew it all on there in yellow washable marker. And as I was walking out to the car to get in for the trip, I was holding my water bottle, which had like a few drips on the outside of it because I had just filled it. And apparently it touched my project, and it just made the whole thing turn into a blurry yellow mass because it's so washable. One little drop ruined my whole design. And so I like get in the car, put my little bag in there and everything. We get driving, and like an hour and a half in, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start sewing. Nope, I couldn't do anything. It was just, it looked like a watermark. It was so like, oh man. I'm still working on that project. I'm just gonna trim this a little bit even here. I love this binding with this. Yeah, it was pretty funny. Yeah, that's true. It's a good time to buy back to school stuff. All right, so, ooh, I love this little binding with this color. It's so cute and cheery. Oh, it's so bright. How is it so bright over here? It's a dark corner. I don't understand. I love the lighting over here on the camera. I know it's, oh, it's so bright for you guys. So let me turn it down a little bit. It's a little too bright. Oh, glue sticks, that's a good idea. Oh, this is on auto. Sorry, Beverly. Beverly is such a good reminder. She reminds me like, oh yeah, you had the iron camera on autofocus. It's always the iron camera. And I don't know why, but all my cameras were reset today, even though I was using them all day yesterday. And so I'm not sure why the app decides to do that sometimes and not every time. But we don't want auto. It's jarring sometimes. So sorry you had to suffer through all that hemming with the autofocus on. I keep getting these little wrinkles right here. Stop that. Stop it. Okay. What other knots could we do with the straps? I think we could come up with something else kind of cool. That was fun. Okay. Now we'll just turn it to the other side. A little wide. Oh wait, do you stitch down the facing on this? You might. You guys use glue sticks all the time? I think the only thing I use glue stick for in sewing is I hold the button on the garment with a glue stick now, because life's short. Especially if I use my machine. But I have to admit, I don't like that. I don't like using my machine to sew the button on. And you guys all know I usually weave the shank. Even when I use the buttonhole foot to sew the button on, I have it so that the little toe holds the thread higher. So I have fabric or thread there to weave a shank. I think they look messier. They don't look as good. I'm not into it. I had to do it on my brother's shirt, and I'm still having pangs of regrets. I just accidentally turned this. Oh, what happened? Oh, no, it's on. That's weird. It just didn't make steam. Oh, instead of basting. Yeah, that's great. Oh, yeah. I would imagine, like, applique would be so great. I use this one right here. The Sew line. I have a whole package of glue sticks though, but I like how small this is, you know? Yeah. It's too messy, Terry. Like nothing, I can't figure out how to get it to be nice and not messy. And then you have to spend so much time pulling all the thread tails to one spot. And you have to make sure you put your thread tails long. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. Not for such an expensive foot, because it's a Bernina. Not worth. Okay. Because this is a bias, it has a nice soft edge and it won't unravel. We can just leave it raw in there. Oh, now you ran out of thread? Now you do? When there's 3. That was our last sewing, by the way. But I have another. had another bobbin. We're okay, but that's kind of funny. I think we might stitch the facing down to the garment. Did I catch it all? Oh, I ran out over here. I can see my needle holes, so I thought I had sewn there. Whoops. Oh, I got that really off too because it started pushing. I have a little fold there. We're not going to worry about it. All right, do we stitch it down? It's nice when you do, because see, look, we see the stitch line there. See it? A mechanical sewing machine. What do you mean by speed? I mean, what do you mean by mechanical? Okay, do we? Yes, we do. Okay. I'm down for that. More stitching the better, right? But let's make sure we like, I'm gonna use a thinner pin. Let's make sure we like the facing first. All right, this is, okay, good, yeah. I mean, isn't that what I'm using? I mean, the Juki home machine, right? That is a, what did you say? Automatic thread cutter and speed regulator. Yeah. I changed the stitch with the dial. Oh, change the stitch length. I don't have any other stitches. I have one stitch. And it is straight. I can go forward or reverse. Those are my features. But on my Juki, there's no computerized stuff, but there are no other stitches. Oh, no, yeah, there's no buttonhole in that. That's why I got the EB one. Yeah, that's why I bought that whole thing. So, let's see here. There, yeah, and someone said brother. So brother must have a mechanical one. Yeah, I don't like the computerized things either. I mean, it's not that I don't like them. I don't know. A good buttonhole is hard to find. All right, so I think this all is laying pretty nicely, right? You need more stitches, but not 100. Yeah, I need none of those. I have to admit, I would like a, you know what? I drafted this facing. I didn't draft it, but I kind of made sure it was a little smaller along this edge so that it would hug the body, and now I have to stitch it down. So that wasn't good. Shoot dang. Let's see. Maybe we leave it. See how this right here is a little more baggy than here? I did that on purpose. I pivot out a little bit so that it stays against the body and you don't have to worry about it flipping out. I think we can still stitch it down though. I just don't want it to pull. Yeah, I don't think mine has a automatic thread cutter either, Amy. And it is, I don't think of it as old, but it probably, you know what, I don't think I should stitch this down. Can you see this right here? Like, look at that. You know? We might have to skip the stitching. We could stitch it down and maybe in back, but I think that would look kind of weird. Let's just secure the underarms here. And then we'll call it good. I really wanted to stitch that down, but I think that would be a mistake. No. Wow. This needs to stop happening. The thread gets caught on the spools now. That is dangerous. Is your name really Emmy-Emify? Because my family calls me Emmy. E-M-Y. No one in my family has ever called me Saremy in my entire life. Isn't that weird? No, Evie. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stitch it at the seams. Exactly. Sometimes I will stitch in the ditch from the right side. But you know what, you guys? That never sticks. It never sticks. So say I would have done this from right here, right? This is normally what I would do. Like on shoulders with facings, I will pull this apart and stitch right here in the ditch and secure the facing, okay? But I don't know what it is about this. This, of all the things I sew, is the only thing that comes undone over time. And I have a feeling it's because when it's on the shoulder, it's rubbing on the shoulder, and those little stitches just kind of gently kind of get wiggled, wiggled, wiggled. Even if I back tack it 12 times, it's a really strange thing. All right, so let's, and sometimes it's really good to kind of leave things free floating. They will behave better. Oh, how is your buttonhole then? That's really cool, Nancy. Nancy's one of our gadget gals. All right, we could also do center seams as, oh no, we can't. Well, we could. So if you were having a very particularly annoying facing, you just can't get it to go, you know, stay down there, you can just still pick it up. If you have a seam, I'm lucky I have a center seam, you know. And same thing, just give it a few tacks. Hopefully I don't need to reposition that because I stitched that down pretty darn good. Well, that doesn't look good though. I think I could have done that better. We're taking that out. Better now than, you know, later, right? Plus, I send this off to the store. I sometimes forget this is going to hang in their store. And then I think, oh my God, I hope it looks okay. Sometimes I'll send a note. I'm like, this one went haywire. I don't know what to tell you. It just hangs on like a mannequin anyway. All right, let's get this a little nicer. Okay, so I think this time I'm going to try and go horizontal along this seam, just to let it blend in a little nicer. Good for you, Terry. Okay, look at that, that blends in way better. Oh, I need some water soon. 100%. It works great. That's cool. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't have any water here. My eyes watering. I was so careful, but was I? Apparently not. All right, let's try it again. Let's see. It's way, that was where I stitched it, way over there. These are always so tricky. I'll do it like this. No, I can't see that seam though. I really want to do it inside that seam. Let's try again. All right. I did it. That looks better. Okay. Oh. We have so many baby squirrels right now. It's really cute. But I'll like pull into our driveway, which is really, really long. Not really, really long, but it's long. And there is always like a little baby squirrel like, huh, I wonder what that is. I'm like, it's a truck. It's a truck. You need to get out of the way. You know? Like, maybe I'll just pick this thing up. Is it edible? Nothing's getting closer to me, you know? I'm like, dude, you guys, self-preservation. Okay, that looks good. We just didn't do this one here. Noodle brought in a baby squirrel the other day into our bathroom. I caught it. I got to hold it in a pillowcase. One of my lifelong dreams. I immediately told my mom. I was like, most of one of my lifelong dreams has now happened. And she goes, is the other part of it to have a baby squirrel or have a pet squirrel? I said, yes. She's like, me too. My mom and I are so into animals. But he was fine. He was really cute. He just chilled with me and hung out. I cleaned him up a little bit, sent him on his way. All right. So, should we put it on the dress form? It looks good. So you guys want to see, this is the whole pocket assembly, how it's looking. So, that's interesting. This seam here, what I didn't like about this seam here is that it felt like it was supposed to push forward. But down here, it doesn't need to. So if you're okay with your seam twisting, you could then tuck this under and stitch it down, and then you would have a clean finished without serging at all. And I would have turned this under, right? So, yeah, you could totally hand sew those tacks. And my hand sew ones come out just as bad as the machine, so, you know. Either way, right? All right, let's try it on the dress form now. Let's play around with the knots. Oh, the stress feels so good. The weight of the hem, really good. So someone asked if you could just make this straps and still get it on, and I don't think so. I think you could make it into straps, but you'd need a side zip probably. That's my guess. I'm making it look hard because the dress form is hard to get things onto. It's just how it is. That's the thing with a dress form. If you don't have a collapsible shoulder, which is like a classic dress form would, you just have to kind of do the shimmy shimmy thing to get it on there. I might need my hammer right here. I should have flipped this thickness here. Oh well. Okay, so here's well, that's the seam. Here's the pocket. See the miter corner. Here's the pocket. I really have to raise it up high for you to see the whole hem. That added a nice bit across the back hip. So this is the back right here, it's just the side seams. Oh gosh, did I go too high? I've never gone too high before. Ooh. Shoot. I've got my little foot pedal off track. Oh man. All right, well. You can see the whole thing. So when we tied the straps the other day, so you're supposed to tie your little knot right here at the top, right? There we go. Just had to wiggle it. So that the knot is right here at the top and then your bow sits there like that, right? And we were playing around with other things to do with these really long straps, or ties really. So I did this, I put it in a little knot like that, and then we'll do it on this side. But this is what I want to say about the strap thing. So, you know, where your straps go in right here, they could just sew together right here and not have these, right? But you would need a way to get in. You would probably need a side zip. Whoops, don't tie it like that. This sits really low. Like the armhole sits low. I'm having trouble getting it to like sit right on her. Right. There we go. Okay, so now we have our straps tied. And then the other day what I did was I wove them together. So I took them like this, right? So you could play with all kinds of things. We were trying to figure out like other ways to deal with these. Like what if, you know, you could maybe put them together like this. And maybe what you could do is make this one sit lower, right? Maybe not that much. Just come together like that. This is what I did was I'm making these flat, flat, and then I just basket wove them. So over under like that. And then the opposite with this one and this one. So see there, No, this one goes under, over, under. This one goes under, over. There we go, like that. So now we have a basket weave, like that. And then I think I just knotted it together below. Oh, I think I put them separate, right? So I stacked these two together. And you could do this on your front and then just flip it over the head if you were wearing it. Hopefully I can do it when I try it on. I was trying to get that nice and flat, like a nice looking knot, right? Let's see, this one has this one going over, so we'll do this one going over. If you were a weaver, you might enjoy doing this. You could weave it even more, I imagine. No, can't you? I don't think you could. I'm not a weaver. And there you go. You can have the little knots there, right? Like that. And then you could do it on yourself. Oh, maybe you couldn't because there's no head here. I was thinking you could do it on yourself and then flip it over your head. But maybe, I guess you could maybe move your head under. Anyway, I like that. Oh yeah, this is the Upton. Thank you. It's a little small for me right now. This is before they came out with all the like options too. So it's like an infinite dress pattern. Like you have there's a ton of options, I think. Maybe I don't want to clip my, or tack my facing down. I can see it's right there. See it? It's fine in back. Yeah, it's kind of pulling there. A little bit pulling here. I think I need to reposition this side one here. Here's my pocket. And it's stitched down to the dress, which is nice. Yeah, this is Brussels washer linen from Hearts. Did you answer that, Aisha, to someone? Because I see Julie's question after you answered it. Are you predicting the future? Is that what's happening here? It's Brussels washer linen. Yeah. So Brussels washer linen has a lot of drape to it, and it's a lot easier to deal with because it's got a little bit of stability. Do I want to say that? I don't think I want to say that. It's got more drape than regular linen. I don't have to iron it. Linen you don't have to iron. And it comes in a ton of colors. All right, well, I'm looking forward to trying this on. I love the double dart. You know? I'm not sure I did this right though. Like here's my stitching for the vent, and then here's my pocket. I really think you could just stop your vent right here with this one and do an inset pocket there. It'd be easier. You knew that was the next question? Dang, predicting the future. Cute. All right. Well, sorry I'm chewing gum. Just seeing little threads I'm clipping. I don't like how this goes out right here. And I'm wondering if this is because I stretched it a little doing the dart. I don't know. There's so much going on here, but it could be simpler, I think. Oh, you did this one? So my Donnie is in Brussels washer linen in jam. You know how these people think exactly. Yeah, this is really cute. Should we put it the way it's supposed to be? I'll leave that for now. I'll take a little photo of it like that. I think it's cute. Maybe flip that over like that. What other things could we do though with these straps? I mean, what you need is a knot artist in the house. You need someone who does macrame so that when you're getting ready in the morning, they can make sure you're ready, you know? I don't know. Maybe that. And then you could something like that. I don't know. And beads at the end, exactly. Knots over by, ooh. Yeah. I like that idea. Let's try that. Yeah, because if you had an arm in here, you have some other thing to. So what would you do? Would you go under the arm and then over? I don't have my arm in here. I don't know why, but my arm's in the other room. So if this was the arm, this thing weighs too much for me to do this probably. Are you thinking maybe just like that? Yeah, I think that's what you're thinking. I like that. Okay. So it would just kind of hang over your shoulder. Yeah. Like that. Something like that, right? And remember, if you weren't doing something so stiff as this hemp, it would probably be a lower profile. No, I'm not doing them tight either. So it could hang over you could even do it a little smaller, like up here. That's a possibility. You might be able to do something that goes around. I think that would be kind of weird. Maybe put it on yourself. I'm not putting it on myself right now, but I probably will try a few of these. Yeah, you actually could. Maybe you could get like a bead that the hole was big enough and then just thread these through and slide it up. I think that you're onto something there. I mean, you could just do one and leave the other one hanging back there. But I just think like, that's kind of messy. The bow's cute. You know? The bow is cute. It's just, when I tried to do the bow, I kept getting it in the front and I didn't really like it there. But if you can go behind your head and tie it, you can get it like right on top of the shoulder. I wonder if you could do halter style. No. I'm just entertaining myself now. No. No, anyway. Bag in front. We tried that the other day and it looked kind of weird. But you know, you could do something where you've got this maybe, and if you had a decoration on it, right, you could hang this in front. You know, like you know, like a necklace or something. And then this one back here. I know you guys want to get your hands on it and try it yourself. But keeping the straps the right angle. What if it was something like this and you tie it? This might be really weird. Wait, did I do that right? Yeah. Okay, it does have kind of a cool effect on the shoulder because it crisscrosses. So the strap crisscrosses. Yep, Frankenstein for sure. Someone could pull that off. It's not me. I think the first weaving was the best. Well, I've broken in the straps at least. Anyway, all right. Well, that's it, you guys. I'm done. I can think of a lot of people that would look good in this dress. I think it looks beautiful on the model. It's not something I normally would wear, but I think if I fit it, it could look really good. And in a darker fabric maybe on me. We'll see. Maybe I'll try this the camisole length. Because you could just do the camisole length too. It'd be kind of fun. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. So I'm not sure what I'm doing in September, but just stay tuned. I'll post a calendar usually on Instagram early in the month, or at least before the week I will stream if I'm streaming. So yeah. So it was nice seeing you guys, and thanks for helping me celebrate 6 years, 30,000 subscribers. Subscribe if you would like. Comment on the video when it's done, or the stream when it's done. Have a great weekend. What else? Bye.